Hello everyone, and welcome back to Educated STEM. I am Kate, the founder of Educated STEM, and today we're continuing our series on negotiation. So if you haven't watched the previous videos on making a budget, doing your research on the job titles and potential salaries, and then coming to the salary range that you're interested in and hopefully the salary that you would like, please go ahead and go back and watch those videos because it's very important that you do the homework. I know most people are like, no, Kate, just tell me how to negotiate. And that's not really the best way about it. You need to know how to do your research, how you can come to the figures, so that then when you come into the negotiation, you have all of the information required to hopefully do a good job and advocate effectively for yourself. Because if you don't come in prepared, the only person that you're screwing up is yourself. And you'll only have yourself to blame, unfortunately. So go back, watch those videos, and we'll be waiting for you when you return. So today we're going to talk about the actual negotiation. But first, you need to practice. Now, this might seem a little silly, but it's very difficult to talk about yourself and to ask for more. Some people might find it really easy, but probably you are like the majority of us where it is uncomfortable. So you need to practice with someone, hopefully someone who has negotiated before, and then they can actually help you think about how you can make the request. So I'm going to suggest you find a friend, a family member, someone who has negotiated. They don't necessarily need to be in your field, although that would help, but someone who's definitely negotiated before. And give them the job description and talk about the salary range that you would like. And then I want you to go into the practice. I want them to try and make sure that they can lowball you and make sure that you can give you reasons why you deserve or why you ought to have a lower salary than what you want. And I want you to come back and come up with rebuttals against the arguments about why you really do deserve a higher salary. But I want you to use words. If you use deserve, if you come across as a little bit conceited or entitled, then even in this scenario, you're not going to get very far. And when you remember, this is practice for when you go forward and actually do a real negotiation. So try and make sure that the word deserve does not come up in the conversation. You know, just talk about the skill set that you have, the education that you have received, the experiences that you have, and you know, hopefully that will come across and you'll be able to leverage those reasons why you ought to be offered a higher salary. Then make sure that you have written down their reasons why they want to give you a lower salary and your rebuttals, because you may have forgotten it by the time the negotiation happens, depending on when you have your practice and depending on when you receive that phone call or the email. So make sure that you've made some notations just so that you can refer back to them when you need to. So practice, practice, practice. Just like everything else, negotiation is a skill. So let's do some practice with someone that you trust, someone who will be able to provide you advice on, you know, how you answered, what you looked like, your tone, because all of those things will play into how successful your negotiation will be. Now, the actual negotiation. This is what you've all been waiting for. So negotiation can happen in a couple of different ways. It might happen via email, or it might happen in an in-person scenario, whether that's in real life, over Skype, over the phone. You never, really necessarily know. But if you get the opportunity to know who you'll be negotiating with ahead of time, then I want you to research them. Just like you hopefully research them during the job interview. If it's a different person, then maybe you're not. But you can learn a lot about someone by going through their LinkedIn profile, and what you're looking for is ways that you can build a rapport with this individual. Did you go to similar universities and schools? Have you got similar hobbies? You know, look around the office. If it's in an office, do they have, you know, family photos or degree certificates or books that you might recognize? You know, you want to build a rapport because the more someone feels, you know, kind of that they have similarities to you, then the more likely they are to then help you out when it comes to the negotiation and potentially giving you a higher salary. If you can't do any of this, then please don't stress out. You know, you can go into a negotiation with no rapport built at the time, and you can just kind of, as long as you're polite, you know, you vocalize what you want, why you want it, then hopefully you can still get a really good result. You know, I once negotiated for a position. I got a phone call out of nowhere. It was HR, was not expecting the call at all. They talked about the salary. Ironically enough, I just said what I was currently making, plus various bonuses. And the person from HR said, okay, let me get back to you. Phone me up later that day. They could, you know, they told me what the salary was. I heard back from my later supervisor that apparently HR said that I'd negotiated really well and really pushed for a salary. And that was the easiest negotiation I'd ever had because I just told them what I was making. So hopefully, you know, you will have a similar situation where even if you get an unexpected phone call, because you have the preparation and the knowledge going ahead, then it can be successful. So you're going to utilize that knowledge and you're going to articulate that. So a potential sentence that you might want to say is, I'm very excited to receive an offer to work for your company. I was hoping there may be some flexibility on the salary. Given my qualifications and work experience, my research for similar positions in the area shows a salary range of between this and this. Is that something you can consider? So you're being polite, you're letting them know that you've done your research, you know, remind them of why they want you, your qualifications and experience, and then you're just asking them, you know, is this possible? And if they say no, don't freak out. Getting to know is actually a good place. And I'm going to wave a book at you now. It's called Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it. Now, this is a really fun book because this is talking about literally getting hostages out of situations. So life does depend on it, but they've got some really fun ideas about how to negotiate successfully. And getting to know is one of their piece of advice, because at least you know then what isn't possible. So hopefully they're saying no to, you know, one of your higher salary ranges and not the lowest end, because if they're saying no to the lowest end, then that might be the end of the negotiation. You know, your zones of potential outcome do not overlap at all. So, you know, you're done here. This isn't going to work. But hopefully they're just saying no to the upper limit. So now you can start thinking about, you know, amounts lower than that, and the negotiation can really take off. If they are not able to give you a salary that you want, maybe they can make an offer which is still sweet. Maybe they can give you a signing bonus, or you can get guaranteed pay increases for hitting certain goals. So, you know, if you're less excited about the starting salary that they offer you, and they're not willing to budge, maybe you can get them to sweeten the deal that way. You might want to ask them when they want someone to start, because if they say, you know, last week, we need someone in this position as soon as physically possible, then you know that you might be able to have a little wiggle room because they need someone. Now, remember, you've probably just gone through an interview process. There probably will be second and third place candidates that they could then offer you know, the role to. They probably haven't told them that they were unsuccessful at this point. But, you know, you're currently in pole position. They want you. So hopefully you can use that little bit of leverage. You know, I could begin very quickly, but I would hope that you could increase the salary a little more, or whatever you want to say. Now, this might sound a little odd, whether you're meeting in person or over the phone. I want you to have a smile on your face when you negotiate. This will mean that you sound positive. You can see that when I'm smiling, I feel like I have more excitement in my tone. And it also has been shown that if you have the positivity by smiling, that it means that you can think more quickly and you're more likely to collaborate and problem solve, because this is a problem, right? You want the job, but you want to be paid an appropriate amount for your skill set. They want to give you the job, but they want to try and ensure that they're paying you a little less. So this is a problem to solve. How are you going to do this together? So coming in with a healthy, positive attitude and try and keeping that smile on, it will help throughout the negotiation. And I know that a lot of the time when someone's talking, you are thinking about your response. And, that is not necessarily something that is very helpful at the time. You're not really listening to the person. You're already kind of structuring the argument in your mind. So I want you to think about, no, I'm going to pause. I'm going to actively listen to what the other person is saying. They might be giving you hints and tips, which will help you when it comes to the negotiation. If you just take the time to not consider your response, listen to what they say. You can then pause, briefly think about your response, and then articulate your message. You might want to also use some of the words that the individual is using, and maybe if you're in a person meeting, use some of their body language, because this is called mirroring and it can be used very successfully. So listen to the words and the phrases that they use in their last response, and maybe just repeat some of them back. Show that you're listening, show that you've appreciated their message, and then you can build on that to then negotiate further. And remember, the person that you're negotiating with may not have the power or the authority to make the decision. They might have to get back to you at a later time. So just remember, don't be so pushy and off-puttish, because they're then going to have to go and advocate for you to the person who does have the power. So if you're polite, if you're cordial, if you're understanding, then that will allow them to have a better opinion of you to then move forward, and hopefully they can persuade the person who then does have the power that you ought to get a higher offer. Once you've finished the negotiation, you have to get it all in writing, regardless of whether it's the salary or whether there are other perks and benefits that you've negotiated successfully for. You need to get it in writing. It isn't worth a thing if it's verbal. What happens if the person that you were talking with leaves? There's nothing to say that what you discussed was actually discussed. So before you make any decisions, before you do anything, get it in writing. Once you have it in writing, you can agree to the terms and you can give it back. But again, don't make any life-changing decisions. I've heard of people putting their house on sale, buying tickets to go to their new location before they have it in writing. And that is just really worrying to me, because what happens if the company's like, oh, we made a decision, we made a mistake, this doesn't happen. And I've had friends who've been negotiating for a position, they've been in the middle, they've literally had everything decided, and then the company has said, sorry, we're going in a different direction. So again, wait for it to be in writing. If it's not written down, it's not worth the paper it's written on. That's a saying, and it's true. So get it in writing, and then you can make your decision to move forward. So hopefully all of those tips and tricks helped. Negotiating isn't something that we necessarily look forward to, but it is a skill set that we all need and can be leveraged very well. So again, hopefully that helps. Like the video if you appreciated the message. And the next video is going to talk about annual performance reviews. You may not think that is a negotiation, but it can be. So I look forward to seeing you at the next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.